I now hand the conference over to Mr. Ambar Singhania from Asian Market Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nirav. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Asian Market Securities, I welcome you all for Q4 FY20 and FY20 earnings conference call for Sadbhav Engineering Limited and Sadbhav Infrastructure Projects Limited. We have with us today Mr. Vasisht Patel, CEO of Sadbhav Engineering, MD of Sadbhav Infrastructure, Mr. Nitin Patel, ED and CFO of Sadbhav Engineering, and Mr. Varun Mehta, CFO of Sadbhav Infrastructure Projects Limited, representing the company. I now request Mr. Patel to take us through the quarterly and annual results and then the outlook for the company, and then we shall begin with the Q&A session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ambar bhai. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Sadbhav Group, I welcome all the participants and thank you for taking your valuable time for the earnings call for the quarter ended and full year ended 31st March 2020. I will first start with Sadbhav Engineering financial numbers and updates on merger of SEL and SIPL. Post that, Mr. Vasisht Patel will take you through status of various under construction projects, and thereafter Mr. Varun Mehta will take you through the SIPL financial numbers and update on stake sale. The income from operations for the quarter stood at rupees 409 crores. EBITDA for the quarter stood at rupees 50 crores. PBT for the quarter stood at 16.16 crores and PAT for the quarter stood at rupees 8.18 crores. EBITDA margin for the quarter stood at 12.34%. Income from operations for the full year stood at 2,252 crores. EBITDA for the full year stood at rupees 279 crores. PBT for the full year stood at rupees 110 crores and PAT for the full year stood at rupees 85 crores. EBITDA margin for the full year remains at 12.41%. Segment-wise revenue breakup for the quarter is already mentioned in the presentation. Now coming to the gross debt. The gross debt as on 31st March 2020 stood at rupees 1,242 crores versus 1,587 crores as on 31st March 2019. Net debt as on 31st March 2020 stood at 1,119 crores versus 1,527 crores as on 31st March 2019. Our net debt to equity is the lowest in last 10 years. Our net debt to equity stood at 0.53x as on 31st March 2020. This includes loan given to SIPL of rupees 350 crores. So if we consider the debt only for APC business, then the net debt to equity will remain at 0.37x. Now the order book as on 31st March 2020 stands at rupees 8,372 crores. All the projects in the order book have received appointed dates, including Gadag Honali project, for which we have received the appointed date with effect from 12th March 2020. On the execution front, top 5 projects by execution during Q4 FY20 have been disclosed in the presentation. Now coming to the merger, we have filed the scheme of arrangement with the stock exchanges. Approval from National Stock Exchange is received and approval from Bombay Stock Exchange is expected by end of this next week. Post the same, we shall file the scheme with NCLT. Once NCLT accepts the case, then we shall obtain approvals from all stakeholders, that is shareholders of both the companies, lenders, authorities, creditors, etc. With this now, I will hand over to Mr. Vasisht Patel to discuss the under construction projects. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me.
Thank you, Nitin bhai. Good morning to all the participants and thank you for taking your valuable time to attend the earnings call. Coming to the under construction project, status of major projects are as under. Bhavnagar Talaria, 72% work is completed. PCOD approved by NHAI. And we expect received PCOD certificate for 34 kilometers before end of this month. PCOD shall be received with effect from 20th February 2020. Rampur Kathgodam Package 1, 84% work is completed. We expect to receive PCOD for 32 km before end of this current quarter. We have already applied for the PCOD. Udaipur Bypass Project, 84% work is completed. We expect to receive PCOD for 18 km before end of this quarter. BRT Tiger Reserve Forest, Bangalore, 83% work is completed and we expect to receive PCOD for 90 km before end of quarter 3. Pune to Kodina Project, 67% work is completed. We expect to receive PCOD for 24 km before quarter 3. Rampur Kathgodam Package 2, 60% work is completed and we expect to receive PCOD for 40 km before end of quarter 4. Waranga Margao, 60% work is completed and we expect to receive PCOD before end of quarter 1, FY22. Jodhpur Ring Road, 22% work is completed. In this project, senior lender of the project who has completed the financial closure has not disbursed any amount till date. Hence, we are in the process of a debt tie-up with another lender parallelly. Key Mankleshwar, 7% work is completed. We have infused our upfront equity and we are in the process of obtaining mobilization advance from NHAI. Gadar Bunani, appointed date of the project has been received. However, work has been resumed in this quarter. Lucknow Ring Road, work is under progress in full swing and we expect completion in the contractual time limits. Ahmedabad to Rajkot, both projects, we have 35% work has been completed and we expect to complete the project in quarter 2 FY22. Mumbai-Nagpur Expressway Package 5, 10% work has been completed so far and sale has been resumed in this quarter post-lockdown. You can see from above that 3 HAM projects shall achieve PCOD before end of this current quarter. 2 more HAM projects shall achieve PCOD before end of quarter 3 and 1 more project shall achieve PCOD before end of quarter 4. So all put together, we expect to receive PCOD for 6 HAM projects in current financial year. On the bidding activity, NHAI has called bids for 24 EPC projects worth rupees 17,663 crores and which bid submission date is before end of August. NHAI has also called bids for 27 HAM projects worth rupees 27,974 crores for which bids are to be submitted before end of this August. There are 4 projects worth rupees 3,367 crores for which we have submitted the bids on 7th July 2020. Bid opening shall happen in next couple of weeks. In metro segment, there are 3 projects worth rupees 1,986 crores for which bids are to be submitted before end of this August. We have submitted bids for 1 project worth rupees 470 crores in Ahmedabad Metro on 1st July 2020. Bid opening shall happen in next couple of weeks. With this, now I will hand over to Varun Mehta to discuss the financial number of SIPL updates on stake sale transaction. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Yeah.
Varun bhai.
Yes. Thank you, Vajesh sir, for giving useful updates. And good morning to all the participants and thank you for taking a valuable time to attend the earnings call. The Q4 FY20 results for SIPL is after incorporating the stake sale numbers, and so the impact of the SPVs sold has been given for the part of the quarter depending on when the shares of the SPVs were transferred to in Infravet. SIPL has a current outstanding order book of rupees 194 crores towards the maintenance and the advisory related of the 9 HAM under construction projects, which is to be executed over a period of the next 24 months. SIPL also has an order book of rupees 4,000 crores towards the maintenance of the 9 operating assets which we have sold to in Infravet Trust, and the revenue for this particular order book has been started to flow from Q1 of FY21. The consolidated debt of the operational SPV. So right now we are considering 4 operational SPVs: Ahmedabad Ring Road, Maharashtra Border Checkpost, Rohtak Panipat, and Rohtak Hisar. So as on 31st of March 2020, the consolidated debt of this 4 operational SPVs is around 3,092 crores. The consolidated debt for the under construction HAM SPVs as on 31st of March 2020 is 2057 crores, and standalone debt at the SIPL level is around 900 crores, and this includes loans from SEL of rupees 350 crores. In the HAM under construction assets, we have infused equity of 705 crores as on date, and the balance equity requirement stands at around 308 crores, which is to be infused over the next 24 months. Now coming to the status of the stake sale deal, so we have already completed the transfer of the equity shares of 8 operational assets to InfraVid Trust. Total equity value for the 8 assets is rupees 2364 crores, against which we have received InfraVid units worth rupees 724 crores, representing 10% stake in InfraVid Trust. These units are listed on the BSE and NSE. SIPL also has one board seat on the board of the InfraVid Trust. We see this units as a very valuable investment for us because we know that the InfraVid Trust has some solid plans to expand the portfolio. So definitely we see this as one of the good investments basically against the stake sale which we have got. The balance money we have received around 1568 crores, and the utilization of the same has been mentioned in the presentation. And so out of this 2364 crores, there is a balance proceeds of around 73 crores, which is expected to be received soon. So I think in the next couple of months we should get this money also. Now post the above receipt of the stake sale, the net standalone debt of SCL and SIPL combined has reduced by 63% from around 2534 crores before stake sale to rupees 933 crores now. Net consolidated debt of SCL and SIPL combined has reduced by 47% from rupees 11,497 crores before stake sale to rupees 6082 crores now. This debt will reduce further with the completion of the Eril stake sale. Now coming to the status of the Eril stake sale, the valuation of the Eril as per the SPA is rupees 267 crores. We expect the approval from ORDA, which is the client for this particular project, before the end of the current month, because there has been a sudden positive development which has happened at the time of discussion with the ORDA, and so we expect the approval by the end of this month. Approval from the 5 lenders has been received. Approval from 1 lender is pending, but it is expected to be received immediately once ORDA provides the approval. So in all, from this stake sale, we are yet to receive around 340 crores from InfraVid. So I think we should expect that to receive in the next couple of quarters. So I think with that, the debt can further come down from the existing level. Now this is as far as basically our opening remarks is concerned. And we thank you everyone for listening to us. Now we may please start the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1. First question is from the line of Parikshit Kandapal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, so my question is to Varun. So Varun, can you please update on in FY20 what was the loss funding support provided by SEL to SIPL, and what will that number be in FY21 and 22?
You are saying the loss funding from SEL to SIPL?
Yeah, for the Rohtak 2 assets.
No, yeah.
The shortfall of loan.
Yeah. See, basically for the Rohtak Panipat and Rohtak Hisar, SIPL has given a support of around 75 to 77 crores for both the SPVs put together. So that is the short-term loan which has been given by SIPL to both the SPVs during FY20.
And how's the outlook for FY21 and 22?
See, as far as FY21 is concerned, so I think the shortfall will be a bit lower because obviously both the SPVs have basically received the moratorium from the respective lenders. So I think in FY21 the shortfall funding will be a bit less. And as far as Rohtak Panipat is concerned, so obviously we have started the process of basically the arbitration process with NHAI. So I think Nitin Bhai can put some light on it. exactly where are we in terms of the arbitration?
Sure. Parikshit bhai, see, with regard to Rohtak Panipat, see, earlier we have lodged a claim almost around 1100 crore on NHAI towards the construction of alternate route by Haryana state government, which is a breach of the concession agreement, and the same has been notified, and now the dispute has been created with NHAI, and we have appointed our arbitrator. The arbitration notice has been sent. So we are expecting that within month's time or so, the arbitration process will be started. So once this will be through, so we are completely confident that the Rohtak Panipat, whatever the difference and whatever support so far has been made by the company, that all is to be made good by the NHAI, because that is a clear breach of the concession agreement.
So but in the next 3 years, what could be 3 or 4 years, what could be the peak loss funding? Suppose this project stays with you, and if it goes, if you can just give color on that. So how much of peak loss funding will be required in the next 3 to 4 years from SIPL, IPL to SIPL, if these projects stay with you?
See, ultimately, I can tell that the Rohtak Panipat obviously and the Rohtak Hisar put together, because as Varun bhai has mentioned, put together, we can say that the FY21 will be almost around 50 to 60 crore will be there. And in 22, almost obviously it is continued, then it will be around closer to 90 to 100 crore rupees. Okay. But parallelly, what we are expecting that once the process will be started, so we may seek the interim order from the panel of the arbitrator also, considering basically the high stake involved in the project. So that is why we will basically seek that also parallelly in the arbitration. So that also we are quite hopeful. So that should also come into place.
This last question, sir, if Rohtak Panipat is removed, so how much of this loss funding will be required after the Rohtak Panipat is removed? So another project like Rohtak Hisar. So is there
if you see considering the Maharashtra border check post cash flow surplus, okay. So I think that itself will be able to take care is the Rohtak Hisar, but I think the loss funding will be hardly around closer to 40 crore odd actually in Rohtak Hisar. And the second thing, basically, I would also put here in the place that the dividend from the units of the trust, that also we are expecting to flow almost around 70 to 80 crore rupees on a yearly basis. So that will be in addition to the whatever surplus will be generated in Maharashtra border check post. Okay. In Maharashtra border check post also, because once the remaining check post will be operational, we are expecting the cash surplus of almost around 110 to 120 crore rupees from next year onwards.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I have some more questions on Chandra. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from IDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. So my two questions primarily. First, sir, on the execution side in Q1, and how do you see the FY21 panning out? Of course, the execution declined sharply. And how do you see the FY22 going forward, the execution rate for us? And second is on the arbitration. Of course, a lot of developers are intending to reconciliation and finalizing the amount. So have you seen any major improvement in NHAI whereby we can see a reconciliation or something for the Panipat very, very soon?
See, first of all, let me give the answer of Rohtak Panipat actually. See, the Rohtak Panipat, it is a clear breach of the concession agreement. And the alternate route which is created, it is shorter than our project highway. Also, it is a toll-free. So definitely this has to be made good. There is a clear provision in the concession agreement. So all provision has been invoked against the NHAI, and we are quite confident. And if you see basically in past also, in wherever we have taken the decision to go in the arbitration with authority, our success ratio in all the arbitration is more than 85% actually, right? So in each and every arbitration process, we have received the award more than 85%. Here, this is also very clear case. So whatever basically gap has been happened so far right from the beginning, and in future also they have to make it good. So I think, but it may take 1.5 years basically maximum to conclude the arbitration process. This is in Rohtak Panipat. with regard to the execution, okay, so what I would like to put it here that the execution at all the projects, particularly appointed date of all the projects has been happened so far. So now there is no projects where we have to take the appointed date. Now post COVID, the work has been started in almost all the projects, including Gadak Honali. We already started the initial execution also. And the way the current construction activity which is going on, we are of the basically clear view, and we are confident that the September onwards we will be able to basically achieve almost around per day 10 crore rupees of the basically turnover with effect from the September onwards actually, because the front in all the projects has been cleared. More or less all the land acquisition process has been completed. Wherever it is not there, it has been notified, and the de-scoping or delinking of the same has been officially completed with NHAI.
Okay, sir. Last question, sir. Is there some update on the arbitration with all for compensation for Ahmedabad Ring Road?
No. There is no arbitration in Ahmedabad Ring Road. Okay, Ahmedabad Ring Road, we have to get the approval from the authority for stake sale, for which the chairman of AUDA has already given the approval. So they are in the process of getting the further approval. And with regard to the car compensation, where the car toll has been stopped by the AUDA from 2017, now just within 10 days back they have taken the decision to start releasing the ad hoc amount. So we are expecting to get around 18 to 20 crore first ad hoc payment towards the car compensation just during this month itself actually.
How much is the total amount you are claiming, sir, for the car compensation?
Our claim is total 80 crore so far, and based on the calculation and based on how the government of Gujarat is paying to Larsen and Toubro in other concessions where they have already government has given the exemption of car compensation. So on the same formula we have claimed actually.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A request to all the participants, please restrict to 2 questions per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Next question is from the line of Deepak Poddar from Sapphire Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. So just I wanted to understand, by when do you see our quarter getting normalized in terms of our execution? I joined late, so I might be repeating it. So just for the sake of it, if you can just.
We are expecting from September onwards, the execution will be on a normalized way.
Mm-hmm.
Because as on date also all sites are going on, and because of this monsoon and COVID situation, the work is not as per the required pace. But from September onwards, we are expecting full pace on all sites.
September onwards, pre the destruction scenario, we were at about 1,000 crores kind of a run rate, 900 to 1,000 crores. So is that what you are expecting to reach towards September onwards?
See, what we have, that's why I have mentioned that from post September we are expecting per day 10 crore rupees of the work. Currently we are working at around 4.5 to between 4.5 to 5 crore as of now. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And my second query was at the lower base also we were able to maintain 12% kind of a EBITDA margin, right? At currently. So what is the reason of that? Is there no operating leverage advantage that we were getting earlier?
So far as the work is in hand, and particularly in hybrid annuity project, okay. So if you see the mix in our work, the key activities like all the top bituminous work, concrete work, as well as all the critical structures, it is being executed at our own. Where the low intensity, kind of thing where we can see the earthwork and some kind of GSB upgrade, that kind of work is being subcontracted. So all put together, and this is the policy of the company in so many years. And whatever the 12.5% EBITDA, what we are basically maintaining, we are basically achieving, we are confident that even current order book also will be able to maintain the same.
Okay. So we'll maintain the similar kind of margin even at a like even if we do 5 crores kind of execution run rate or a 10 crores kind of execution run. Is that right?
EBITDA level, we don't see there will be much visibly reduction. Okay. Because some of the sites of the company has already been completed. You can see that these basically wherever the site has been completed, that even the cost pertaining to the staff has also been gone down, and that is also reflected in the results of the company.
Fair enough. Okay, sure. Understood. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Hello?
Neera? Hello?
Yeah, we are there on the call.
Yeah, I think the line of Neera is dropped.
He's just reconnecting. Just one minute.
Okay. Hello?
Nitin, just one minute. Okay. So while Neera was connecting, just one question from my side is that the remaining portfolio of assets which we have, both HAM as well as the other operational assets which we have, what are the plans for us to monetize the same? Is there anything on the cards, and how we are planning to take it forward?
Yes, Amber, if you see basically in the deal which you have signed with the trust, so there is already a ROFO agreement which we have signed with them. And obviously we at the Sadbhav have the plan to actually sell the HAM and the balance portfolio also. So I think we will start the process for already the toll assets once the market normalizes. That is the Maharashtra border check post is basically which is the left one, because with the Panipat and with the Hisar there are certain issues as of now. And for the HAM assets, we have already started the process. So the discussion with the prospective investors have already been started, because as Vasis was mentioned in the opening remark, the projects are basically at a very advanced stage, and the COD is basically is in light. And so because of that, the discussion with the prospective investors have already been started. We have invested more than 700 crores of equity, and we are seeing a good interest basically amongst the investors, especially because it's a portfolio deal, and especially after basically our tie-up with the trust which has been backed by some of the marquee investors. So I think we are seeing a good amount of interest also basically in the HAM assets.
So for HAM asset also, is there any ROFO with the infra? And secondly, when we can start, like after the COD, is there any waiting period before we start the transfer process on that?
Yeah, see, for the HAM assets also the ROFO is there, but if you see, this is a right of first offer. So this is not a right of first refusal. So as and when Sadbhav decides to sell, so we can also go to the market, and simultaneously we can also show the assets to the trust. And so then depending on the best price that has been offered to Sadbhav, and so on that basis the deal can be closed. So it is not that the trust will have the first pay and then only we can go to the market. So I think it is much balanced basically deal which can happen. And as far as the timeline is concerned, so obviously as per the concession agreement, the timeline it is that we can sell the 100% of the assets after COD plus 2 years. But right now, obviously, before the COD plus 2 years, at least we can transfer 49% of the stake.
Okay.
So on that basis, the deals have been structured. That means right now we can transfer 49%, and once COD plus 2 years is achieved, so then we can transfer the balance 51%.
Fine. Thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Manish Goyal from Enam Holdings Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just missed in the initial remarks on the pipeline of the orders from NHAI. Would appreciate if you can just kind of repeat that and what biddings we have done, please.
Sure. See, as Vashish Bhai has told that the NHAI has called bids for 24 EPC projects worth 17,663 crores, and all the bids is to be submitted before end of August 2020. And also the bids for 27 HAM projects has been called worth 27,974 crores, and this is also to be submitted before August actually.
Okay.
From our side, basically we have already submitted 4 projects of Ahmedabad-Dholera, basically that is the stretch, and worth 3,367 crores. On this bid we have submitted on just 7th of July. And in a metro segment, there are the 3 projects worth 1,986 crores as of now, which we are considering to put the bid. Okay, and other than that, we already submitted 1 bid worth 470 crores in Ahmedabad Metro on 1st of July 2020.
Okay. So, sir, like for FY21, what kind of order inflow we should be targeting?
See, now the post-stake sale actually, the focus was there to complete the stake sale first. Actually, that was our priority. Now our complete focus on the bidding has been started, and as we have mentioned that we have already started submitting the bids. So currently in this year we will have a significant presence in all EPC kind of bids. Either it may be metro, it may be highway sector, it may be also some of the irrigation sector also. Okay, but so this will be the strategy. But in the mind, we are thinking that just in between the 3 to 4 months, we are targeting to get at least 2,000 to 3,000 crores worth of the project now, and then after we will continue for the even Q4 also. So this will be and from government per se, we are expecting there will be a lot of bids will come. Even other than the NHAI, a lot of border roads and everything will open up now. That's what we are hearing from the various authorities.
Okay, sir. And I have one more question, just a clarification from the presentation and from the previous presentation. Like in 3 existing the balance assets in SIPL, MPCL, Rohtak, Panipat and Hisar, the total equity invested number is mentioned as 1,283 crores. While the presentation of in April what we did over there, the equity was 845 crores. So it's gone up significantly by 440 odd crores. So what could be the reason for this?
Sorry, Manish, if you see the notes to accounts of the SIPL, so there we have mentioned that the short-term loan which SIPL was giving to Rohtak Panipat and Rohtak Hisar, so in Q4 this has been converted into a subdebt as a 0% subdebt, and so because of that now it is part of the equity. And
this loan was given by whom?
Yeah, so this loan was given by Sadhva Infra to Rohtak Panipat and to Rohtak Hisar towards the shortfall funding. And if you see the notes to accounts of the results of SIPL, so we have mentioned that in Q4 the short-term loan has been converted into a 0% subdebt. And so because of that, the total equity of this project have gone up.
No, okay, so but how does it change? Because already it was given as a loan to them, and so you are saying now it's converted.
So the nature of the funds has been converted from a interest-bearing short-term loan to a 0% subject. And the moment it is part of a 0% subject, it will be part of the equity.
Oh, okay. And what is, so apart from this equity, what is the amount which has been lent to these entities?
No, I think
outstanding short-term loans?
See, once you have converted the interest-bearing short-term loan into 0% subject, suppose there is nothing outstanding as far as the short-term loan is concerned, basically in this.
Okay. And one last question on the Maharashtra border check post. In terms of the notes to accounts, it talks about this demand order of 349 crores, which is dated 7 July 2017. So if you can just clarify on this.
No, see, actually, that was a hearing of the same has been completed, and now it has been recommended by the Tehsildar to the basically SDM, Senior District Magistrate of that Sindhudurg basically, and we are expecting the order of the same by the end of this month. Actually, because of the COVID situation, it was not basically taken up post hearing, but now all the procedure is over, and there will be zero demand award actually. So what has been recommended by the Tehsildar so far actually.
Okay, sir. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandapal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so Vashisht Bhai, this question is for you. So after you have been now steering the ship for Sadbhav Engineering, so what are your deliverables for this year? So what changes have you done after leading the ship, and you can highlight what are the things, top 3 things which you have done, which were of a concern earlier, so which you had tried to address. If you can highlight these top 3 things.
So first, we have earlier we have told that we required 100% professionalism in the company. So first step is that all the steps towards the professionalism we are taking, and we are focusing on the execution and bidding. So at present, we are consolidated all sites requirements of the material and everything, focusing on the execution and complete the HAM projects. Earlier told that we are expecting 6 projects to be completed in this year, and then EPC projects bidding are going on, and we are expecting some good projects in coming 6 months. So main focus is now execution and the professionalism of the company.
So the line for the participant dropped. We move on to the next participant. Next question is from the line of Prem Khurana from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for taking my questions. So 3 questions. I mean, if you could help us understand, so what's the status on Mumbai-Nagpur? Because as I see it, I mean, when I look at your presentation, it doesn't feature in our top 5 contributors in this quarter, and it's been the case for the last 3 quarters now. Given the fact that this is the single largest project that we have, having initial size of almost around 16-20 odd crore rupees, it's really surprising to see that, I mean, it couldn't even contribute 20 crore rupees in this quarter, because the 5th largest contributor that you have in this quarter has contributed around 18-19 odd crore. So is it that, I mean, we're facing some issues in terms of ROW, which is why the contribution has been low for this project?
See, earlier, obviously, there was the forest issue, and obviously, because the government of Maharashtra wants to start the construction in all the front earlier, so they have given the appointed date, basically, from their side, straightway, unilaterally. Obviously, we are already drawn to the same, to them. Now, basically, post-COVID, the work has been resumed, as Vashisht Bhai has told that and now this quarter onwards, we will continue to see the turnover in the same. Whatever arrangement at the project site was required, that has been done now, and the required resources has been completely lined up there. Now, that project will have a continuous contribution. So that's why we are telling that this Mumbai-Nagpur, then the Kim Ankleshwar, Gadag Honali, this all put together, which was not contributing the top line during the last, basically, say, the quarters. So now that we will start seeing from this quarter some work, because labor force and because of the monsoon, there will be some slow progress will be there. But September onwards, there will be a decent top line will be there actually.
Sure. And Nitin, my second question was on our working capital. So receivables still seem to be high, I think, including long-term receivables. It's almost to the extent of almost around 2,000 odd crore rupees. If you could just break it down into how much of it is due from our hybrid annuities and how much would be as if, I mean, these are change in scope of work or GST dues that you've been highlighting for a while now. Because 2,000 crore rupees of receivables on a top line of 20 to 2,300 crore rupees seems to be on a higher side. So what is the roadmap to kind of get this number down?
See, actually, I would like to put in a different way. See, there are the 4 projects which is going on right now, say Kim Ankleshwar, then the Jodhpur Ring Road. See, Kim Ankleshwar, the invoice of 140 crore has been submitted to the senior lenders of the project. This is a certified work other than the normal work in progress. So that is there. Second thing, in Jodhpur Ring Road, as Vasisht Bhai has mentioned, that the senior lender has not disbursed any single amount, even though the 22% work has been completed. So almost around 252 crore of work has been certified so far. And if we take out the equity and grant of the project, almost around 140 crore is yet to be received from the senior lenders of the project. So in the Jodhpur Ring Road, plus whatever the normal work in progress and everything is happening. Third, obviously, in Rampur project, basically there was, because of the land issues and everything, the insistence of the lenders was there to basically get some of the clarification in writing from NHAI. So some point has been cleared by NHAI, but in that project itself, more than 100 crores of the fund has been basically blocked. Certified work I am telling, other than the normal certification of all other projects. So these three. Apart from that, obviously the accumulated price escalation to the tune of around 240 crore basically is income. Yes, so that is there. In GST front, I can tell that again basically almost 110 or 112 crore outstanding. We have received some of the money from NHAI. The current outstanding may be to the tune of around 60-65 crore basically, because NHAI has started clearing all these basically project specific actually. Okay. So these are the large one, and also basically some changing scope and work as well as I think you may see the arbitration process, because where the award is there, it is in our hand actually. So there basically the receivable outstanding, particularly in Rohtak, Panipat and the Dhule Palakner and everything. So that also has to come to Sadbhav Engineering. So these all put together, this is the amount. But we are expecting that the certified work will basically be cleared just within a couple of months by the lenders. So that will bring down the numbers to that extent. And once things will normalize from September onwards, we are of the view that all the basically requirement of the working capital and everything will be addressed so far.
Sure. And just one last for Varun. Varun, Maharashtra Board check post, I mean the balance check post, when do we expect these to come through, and what was the revenue for Maharashtra Board check post in Q4 or FY20?
See, the revenue in Q4 was around 10th of March, and from 20th of March, in fact, the revenue totally stopped. So the revenue is a bit on the lower side as compared to the earlier quarter, but for the month of January and February, the revenue was strong. And as far as the balance sectors are concerned, so we expect that obviously because the construction has been completed and we have got the COD, so I think we should expect that the revenue should start from probably around in the month of October and the month of November.
Okay. So all the check posts, 24 check posts would be operational, or 23 and then one would be in the last?
Yeah. So this is only for the 5 check posts, because the 1 check post we have not received the land yet. So I think that will start not now, but the balance 5 check posts we expect by October.
And how much are we expecting from these incremental 5 check posts?
See, on a yearly basis, on a per annum basis, we are expecting around 65 to 70 odd crores of revenue from this 5 check posts. And plus the important part is that from the next year, the toll rate will increase by 18%. So obviously all the existing numbers will actually ramp up to a large extent.
I mean, in terms of check post, which is when you start your 23 years, or there's change in that?
No, the 24 years and 6 months starts from May 2009. So the start date and the end date will be the same for all the 24 checkposts.
Okay. So we would have to file for claims because it's taken us long to kind of get going.
Yeah. So I think in this project, obviously, there has been a lot of changes as far as the concession agreement is concerned. There has been certain delays in the land which is being provided by the client. There have been certain delays in the starting of the revenue. There have been certain changes in the laws also. So I think obviously once we start the revenue for the 5 checkpoints, so then the plan is to submit the cash flows to the client, because as per the concession agreement, there is a 17% project IRR which has been agreed. So as to meet up that 17% project IRR, whatever is the extension in the concession period required, so that extension in the concession period will be granted by the client. So if you see in case of Aurangabad Jalna, obviously the similar matter was there, and we have got almost more than 7 years of extension in the concession period in that particular project. Because since both of these projects are from Government of Maharashtra, the formula mentioned in the concession agreement is almost the same. So I think we're just waiting for the revenue for the balance 5 checkposts to start, and then we will basically submit a consolidated cash flow depending on the actual position which is there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Jiten Rushi from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for taking my question. So, Varun, can you just finish for the projects, the other project, 9 projects, including Rohtak Panipat and Jagdishpur?
You want the total revenue for Q?
Yeah, before.
For Rohtak Panipat and for Rohtak Hisar.
No, Rohtak Panipat, Rohtak Hisar and others also we feel transfer if it is possible.
See, for Rohtak Panipat it is around 20 crores. For Rohtak Hisar in the Q4 is basically around 18 crores. And I think if you see, obviously, as I mentioned, for Maharashtra border checkpost, so the same thing is applicable for all the projects, that the revenue will be impacted because of the issues which were there. And for the other projects, for the other 8 projects, I don't have the data offhand as of now. Maybe I can give you post the call.
Sure. Yeah. And the interest cost seems to be high this quarter. So this is largely due to the mobilization advances we have high mobilization advances, or any other reason why the interest cost went up significantly in Q4?
Actually, there is normally because the one mark to market basically effect has been taken to the tune of 5 crore rupees in this quarter actually. Okay, particularly in Sadbhav Engineering. If we take out that, so I think the cost is almost within the range actually. And post basically Q1, we are expecting this will start basically going down because the date has been reduced almost at the far end of the March actually in Sadbhav Engineering. And some of the debt has been paid in the month of April also. So this Q1 and then now the going forward, we will start seeing the further reduction in the finance cost.
So this is mark to market for what kind of transaction? Like?
There was some of the 1 or 2 ECB we have taken, around 4 or 5 pavers we have purchased under the Euro basically, and also the windmill basically which is there actually, that is also the ECB facility we have taken. So this all put together, the difference was there actually. So now it has been out of the 4, now the 2 has been completely closed also in this Q1 itself actually.
And sir, on the mobilization advances retention, what is the mobilization advance as on March and retention money as on March, and how much we expect additional mobilization advance this year?
See, additional in the Gadag Honali we are expecting another 80 crore rupees. And in the Keam Ankleshwar we are yet to get 140 crore of the advance. So these 2 we are expecting between this July and August we will get basically this entire money, because the process has already been started. And the outstanding mobilization advance as of March 2020 was to the tune of around 380 crore rupees.
And retention money?
The retention money also, it is almost around 260 crore rupees is the retention money.
And the last thing on the arbitration, you have mentioned the presentation of around 221 crore which we have won. So what is the status as of now? Whether we will get the money now or how it is the future steps?
See, actually, the process at NHAI level, they have started through the conciliation committee. And for Dhule Palasner and Rohtak Panipat, we have already basically written the letter to NHAI for conciliation. For Dhule, the couple of meetings is completed. Mostly the amount has been settled between NHAI and us actually. So we are expecting that it will be finalized before end of this month. And the remaining this Rohtak Panipat and also the Mumbai Nasik. So we are in the process, but our basically target is to complete all the arbitration process either through the conciliation, that will be the preferred route actually. So before the end to get the process before end of this year itself.
And so last question on the Rohtak, sir. Any steps you have taken, how we have taken in Rohtak Panipat where we have seen parallel road and PKG. So what about Rohtak Hisar? Can you just highlight on the same?
See, actually, if you see that in Rohtak Hisar, the shortfall obviously it is there, but the revenue is also increasing. If you see that the trend of last 3 years, it is consistently increasing in the double digit actually. This is one point. Second thing, to mitigate the gap, while doing the refinancing Maharashtra border check post, the lenders have agreed to provide upsizing of 520 crore, out of which they have agreed to give basically take out 300 crore for Rohtak projects actually, which we can utilize basically to in such a way where we can basically take the advantage of the refinancing of the Rohtak Hisar, and we can get down the cost of the debt also. So that is also one of the aspects which we are not. So once these 5 checkposts will be completed, the revenue will be started. So then after we'll be able to take up for confident that it will be completed. Other than that, if you see that the surplus in Maharashtra border checkpost itself will be sufficient to take care of the whatever the gap is there in Rohtak Hisar, and even though the border checkpost will have the sufficient surplus there.
That is something is a loss funding. Like you will, the subsidiary will. You route it to the parent SIP and SIP will invest in Rohtak Hisar. But any steps we are taking for the traffic, lower traffic, where NHAI will give you some.
No. In Rohtak Hisar, this kind of case is not there actually. What is there in Rohtak Panipat? Okay, so Rohtak Panipat we are completely okay and we have already taken the step. But Rohtak Hisar, we are basically working out the solution along with the lenders and based on the other assets what we are having actually.
So what is the top up you have taken from that 500 crores? 550 crores you have taken, right? So far?
Yes, as of now we have taken 150 crores. Drawdown has been taken.
Thank you. Next question is from Lano Parvez Akhtar from Edelweiss Financial Service. Please go ahead.
Hi. Good morning, Vashesh bhai, Nitin bhai, and Varun. So 2 questions from my side. First is, if I get the numbers correctly, we have to infuse some 308 crore equity in our HAM project.
Right. Yeah.
How much do we need to infuse in this year, which is in FY21?
See, this year for the balance part, for the balance 9 months, so we have to infuse around 125-130 crores.
How much we would have done in Q1 already?
See, already we have infused around 70 crores. We have already infused, and 70 to 75 crores we have already infused.
Okay. Second thing is, obviously execution across the board has been impacted due to COVID. So currently, what would be the kind of labor availability that we have today as compared to what was the situation, let's say, prior to COVID?
See, actually, what we have assessed at all the sites, each and every site has a different composition. But so far as structure work is concerned, we had almost around 50-60% laborers are available. And for the earthwork, basically, see, large number of work basically we have given to the various subcontractors in our case actually. So there, almost we have seen that they also arrange around 50 to 60% operational level now. But earthwork is going to be impacted during the monsoon period. So currently we are focusing on the areas where we can utilize the laborers in the work, basically particularly where without affecting the other areas, we can execute the work in the monsoon. So like the concreting of doing the PQC almost at all fronts, so that we have given the focus, so that is going on. And apart from that, the structure work, wherever the labor is available, we are basically focusing more on the structure work as of now. So gradually this will improve. So we are expecting within a couple of more months actually, we will be able to get the more laborers basically in almost all the sites. And we are expecting we may get almost around say more than 80-90% labor workforce basically by end of September.
Thanks, Nitin bhai, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Aditya Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is, how many quarters will it take to reach 75 crores per quarter profit?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. How many quarters will it take to reach 75 crores of profit per quarter?
You see, as of now, currently because of the COVID situation and now the migration of the labor force, particularly in construction sites, we have seen that it has been impacted basically right from the post the lockdown. Okay, as of now, started, but what we basically once this will be favored by say end of September, we are expecting that we should basically come at a normal level. Okay, so then after definitely will be under now as we have mentioned that the work at the Kim Ankleshwar, Gadagundali, obviously now also at the Samruddhi Expressway that has been started. So this will basically give the further uptick which was not there in earlier quarters. So from there itself we are expecting the significant top line. So I think that from October onwards basically we should be on a normal level.
Yeah, but sorry, but my question was, how many quarters will it take to reach around 75 crores of profit? Do you have any estimate about that?
As of now, at the bottom line, I am not able to basically give the exact, but as I can obviously tell that from October, once we reach the 10 crores per day of the top line, I think that quarterly we can reach the run rate of say more than 800 to 900 crores. So definitely considering the EBITDA, almost basically we can come to the normal level which was there in earlier case actually. So this is the basically as of now we are focusing. And the way all the basically front has been taken up and the way that basically the entire team is working, that is the first and primary goal basically to achieve that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Tina Vermani from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. My question is regarding Rohtak Panipat project. Like you mentioned that you have already initiated the arbitration process with the NHAI and you expect a resolution also on the same. But just in case, if you have to continue with this project, then how is the company planning to take care of the debt repayment and the interest charges for this particular project after the moratorium gets over? Because currently we are protected by the moratorium and there is a hope that arbitration may come in favor. But what could be the worst case scenario if Sadhav has to continue with this particular project?
Particularly if you see that during last 6 years, the company is obviously there to basically take care of the project. And now that it has been notified because all the basically parameters has been which has been taken by the authority, which is a clear breach. So we are confident. I think that will not be required basically because in this particular case there is no option with the UN authority also basically to accept the fact and take the appropriate decision basically. So there may two things is there as per concession agreement. Either they will continue to basically fund the shortfall in terms of the concession agreement, authority, or basically authority has to basically accept the termination due to authority event of default, and basically they have to make the entire debt whatever to the lenders, basically, which has happened in couple of cases in earlier also one for of the L&T project also. The same kind of situation has happened, and authority has now agreed to basically go ahead for the making the payment to the lenders.
Okay. So on the positive side, if authorities go ahead with the considering the discussions that you have initiated, equity investment plus the loss funding that you have provided for this project should get funded.
See, obviously, whatever the gap, because of the alternate route, whatever gap, because concession agreement is very clear, so authority has to make it good. Even for all the future basically period, how they have to make good, that has also been stipulated in the concession agreement.
Okay. So they will either make good the loss that you would have seen in revenues on account of alternate route, or they may also take care of the equity or the loss funding that you have provided for this particular project. But is there any quantum that you are expecting to come through for this project?
Actually, madam, see, we have lodged a claim of almost 1100 crore on NHAI so far, as of now.
Yes. Okay. So claim is of 1100 crore. And currently we have taken the moratorium facility for this, even for this project.
Yes, we have taken that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Request to all the participants, please restrict to one question per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Next question is from the line of Alok Deora from Yes Securities. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Just a couple of questions. One was on, sir, considering that first quarter would be, a large part of it would be a washout, and even September, October, we are expecting some sort of normalcy. So, what is the growth, how much degrowth we are looking at in FY21? I mean, considering that we are already on a very small base currently as compared to the previous year. So, what kind of numbers we are looking at for FY21 in terms of top line?
Frankly speaking, to give the basically idea of the top line at this juncture, it will not be advisable. What I can say that we can give somewhere in the month of September or October, say August end or September, we can basically give that idea more clarity. Because first quarter has been completely ruled out. Second thing, basically the entire workforce which has yet to come, and because of the monsoon situation all put together. So these two is going to affect this current quarter. But however, we have already started the work at all the fronts, basically all the sites. So that the things and the resources has been started utilizing. This will further basically improve as and when the number of more and more basically workforce will start coming. So I think we will be able to give somewhere in the September itself about this top line, that how will we will be able to what will be the current year's number maybe.
Thank you. Mr. Deora, I request you to come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Next question is from the line of Nitin Gandhi from KFS Trade Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks for taking the questions. If in first quarter, have we done at least 2-3 crore per day volume, or are we saying that there is no volume at all?
No. See, it was a complete lockdown, so there was no movement at all. Basically, the lockdown continued. Okay, and even the people remaining nearby vicinity, they were scared to come on the project site itself actually. So, and I think this is a clear scenario. Obviously, from in the month of June, some movement has been started actually.
Right.
So, what we can say that the certification of the June will yet to take place actually. Okay.
Correct. So what is the fixed cost per month we are incurring?
See, obviously the cost of working capital, even cost of equipment and the manpower cost, these three are basically the main put together. But obviously these three, if you can see based on the numbers which was there actually, I think it may be around almost we can say that the around almost 20 crores in a month actually, 20 to 22 crores in a month maybe. It may be something different actually, exactly we have to figure out.
Thank you. Mr. Gandhi, I'll request to come back in the question queue. Next question is from the line of Ritvik Seth from One Up Financial. Please go ahead.
Hi, just one question from my end. What is the timeline for the merger to get completed?
See, actually, the process has been started now. What our view is that it will be in a basically fast pace because now the lockdown and everything is over. And as we have mentioned that we have received the NSE approval, BSE we are expecting to get by the end of next week. So then the NCLT process and the further approval from the stakeholders, obviously, but we are expecting by, say, January or so, we should be able to complete all this.
Okay, sure. And one question, sorry. Once the merger is completed, what is the kind of what is the standalone debt?
The standalone debt of SEL?
Both combined, SEL and SIPL.
No, see, I think the standalone debt.
External debt, yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you see the external debt as of now in SEL is around 1,200 crores and in SIPL is around 450 crores. So both put together around 1,650 crores. But obviously with the stake sale of Beryl and the balance proceeds of the 8 assets coming in, so I think the debt should be lower than that. And as against that, we will be having the units of 724 crores which are listed and which are obviously as per the SEBI guidelines that the 90% of the cash flows has to be distributed. So I think the net debt will be much lower than probably around 400 crores. Possibly in fact lower than that also.
Okay. So if we exclude the InvIT units, it will be around 1,000 crores, and if we include the 700 crores, it will be around 400 crores.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Giriraj Daga from KM Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello. Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I just want to understand what kind of execution we can target in FY22, assuming since we normalize in 2 months. So FY22, what kind of revenue we can target?
See, again, I can see FY22 definitely it will be a normal year because and we have to see that how basically the current situation stands because everything has not been normalized so far in the country actually. So, but if we assume that everything is normalized say by September or October and the things will be completely on a basically track. So FY22 again we will be back to the basically the earlier numbers actually. Almost we can say based on the current orders and the new business what we are expecting that we will be able to cross almost around 3,400, 3,500 crores of the top line in that year itself actually. Okay. It may go also depending upon how the new business is getting added. Okay. So that's the focus as we have mentioned that post the stake sale is completed, obviously the hybrid will also take place at appropriate time. We already started the process. But the clarity in the mind is that everybody now with the team under the Vashish Bhai and basically how the complete focus is on the execution itself and that is how we would like to take it forward.
This 3367 crore we have made. Is it for the EPC side or HAM side?
All are EPC.
All are EPC, right? And focus of 2,000, 3,000 crore of order we expect to win. That's again EPC, right? Expectation.
Yes. It is EPC, yes.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Jiten Rushi from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my question. So this Gadak Hunali, how much equity will put this year, sir?
Yeah, so the total equity.
Total requirement of the equity is 108 crore. Out of that, almost around, initially we have to put around, Varun bhai, around 75-80 crore rupees out, right?
Yeah. So I think in this year we'll be required to put around 75 to 80 crores.
So this is excluding the equity figure you gave it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So that is the equity figure from SIP, and this is the equity figure basically which SEL has to put in. Yes.
And unbilled revenue outstanding as on March.
Unbilled, I can see we have to bifurcate it. See, ultimately, if you see that as I have mentioned, billed revenue, number one. Number two, the accumulated price escalation to the tune of almost around 230 to 240 crores. Changing scope, outstanding of the GSE and some of the arbitration awards which are already there. If we take out that, I think unbilled revenue may be within the range of almost around, say, 600 to 700 crores may be there actually.
So that is part of the 1900 crore debtors you are saying, right, sir?
Yes. That's all part of the same. Everything.
And so CapEx, what is the target? Like how much you have done in FY20 and now what's the target for 21 and 22?
See, the target for the CapEx, because considering the current environment is not so significant, but hardly maybe around say 20, 30 crore, 40 crore rupees of the basically new equipment to bridge the basically some gap is there. We will basically go for the same. Even last year also we had done almost the CapEx largely on a lease basis, but hardly around 25 to 30 crore rupees only.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Alok Deora from Yes Security. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just one question. So, sir, regarding the HAM projects where the bank rate had come down significantly and there was a mismatch because the borrowing cost did not come down. So, in the last one of the calls, you mentioned that you have sort of discussed the same with NHAI. Any update on that? And is there anything in the concession agreement related to that?
Hello. See, actually, in a HAM, if you see obviously the bank rate which has came down substantially because of the RBI's intervention, considering the current environment. See, obviously the representation from basically all the concessionaire and the National Highway Builders Federation that has already been given to the Finance Ministry and the NHAI to consider some another alternative with regard to that actually. Obviously, because this cannot be also basically remain for a longer period. But here we are expecting the authority will come basically with that discussion is already going on at authority level also. So may come with some of the basically alternative, or they may come with some of the. In past also, if you might have seen that because of the change in the base year of the prices, we can say that the price index. Okay, there was a gap of some basically the calculation which the authority has later on accepted and considered the difference basically for the purpose of the toll revenue, toll rate actually, and that is way how it has been reflected this year. Also, we are expecting from the authority to come up actually.
Okay, so but is there anything in the concession agreement for the same, or is just that something which is outside or extraordinary?
Concession agreement is not there, but see, obviously when the authority has taken a step, consider the force majeure, the political event force majeure, and they have accepted the losses for all the basically these government projects, and they have considered the extension for all the even toll projects and even hybrid annuity projects. So this is the force majeure because this decision is also because of the force majeure kind of situation. So definitely this will also have the force majeure clause may be evoked of the concession agreement. That is what we are expecting.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I will now hand the conference over to Mr. Ambar Singhania for closing comments.
Thank you, Nirav. On behalf of Asian Market Securities, we thank everyone for participating in this call, and a special thanks to the management for giving us this opportunity to host the call and taking time out for this discussion. I would like to hand the floor back to the management for their closing remarks. Over to you, Nitin bhai.
Thank you very much, Ambar bhai and Asian Market Securities for organizing. Again, I am very much thankful to all the participants who have taken their valued time for understanding basically this business. Obviously, this is a challenging time in the entire world actually. Our country and even this particularly in our sector itself has also impacted. But as we have mentioned that our first priority is to basically things to bring on a normalcy. Obviously, the way the decision-making process at the company we are taking is to completely, the focus is to bring the things on a normal way. And we are quite confident that just within 2 to 3 months, we will be again back to the whatever required level. And for all here, again, I would like to request to stay safe and for all of their families under this current basically challenging scenario. Thank you very much for all for taking your time.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Asian Market Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.